Hello.
Howdy,
Well-
hi.
Welcome
Hello,
back.
Janelle.
Hello, Janelle. We are back here for day one of the trial, and we can't just let Shane go without reprising his new favorite character in this trial.
Brutal.
So we forced him to stick around.
quote.
And quote.
We forced him to stick around, and now we're going in. Damn, there was no... We're going straight into a trial. This is so fast. Usually like 3 hours of prep time before this. Good morning, sunshine.
So, you're Vera, right? I'm Trucy. Trucy, right? That's right with a W, but not like right? We're on your side. You can tell us anything, all your secrets, please.
Yeah, especially the part where you tell us that you did it.
Good morning.
She knows the language of us humans.
Wow, she speaks American. Not bad. But I think you do better with a little smile, you know? How come you don't smile more, sweetie? You're so pretty. You need to sell yourself, you know? Wear some skimpier outfits.
Trucy. We take it one step at a time, Trucy. That's a big step. Oh, she's selling herself.
Thank you for taking my case.
She signed it.
Okay. Well, that's a start, baby. That's a start. Character development. Yeah, we got more personality than I do.
Like girl meep.
It's Meep. It's girl Meep. There she goes with the nail polish again.
That's great, really. It's so cultured.
What did right?
Oh, really?
Girls. The victim, Drew Micham, was a forger. That's why his name is Drew Masham.
You a sham?
His name's Sham because he's a forger.
And a stolen
His art's a
painting.
sham.
And a stolen painting was found in the studio. A life of crime, really. And maybe one that led to his death. We're gonna get like a cool juror in the overall picture now.
A cool, distinct juror that will never show up again.
Do we know a single thing about Apollo's backstory at all?
No.
He's early 20 and he's vengeful.
He's 22, which is already a shock because I thought he was 18 this whole game until they actually said his age. Well, we're begin the
Is that Incuritus? I heard that.
trial of Vera Masham.
Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy and he's looking around all nervous like.
He bought a lot of art from this guy.
The repercussions of today's trial will most likely be felt for a long time and may indeed alter our legal system forever.
Oh, he's sad he's
Today
gonna
is
lose
the test
power.
of the jurist system.
He's sad because he lost power. That's why.
And the first step towards a new order in our courts. Daddy's secret mission. The jurist system will function like a jury. It is hoped their inclusion will help the courts to better reflect the people's will.
Why aren't there any jurors in the courtroom?
This is the jurist system? What the fuck? 3 closed-circuit cameras watch this courtroom at all times. The jurists have access to everything that transpires. We let our viewers online vote on guilty or innocent. Jurists, judge well and judge cool.
Now see here, Prosecutor Gavin. I was gonna say that.
My apologies there, Judge.
Jurors today are judge today's trial coolly, if you'll be so kind.
Should we call the jurists streamers? Or
Streamers.
viewers, I mean, like
Viewers.
streamers do? Chat?
Chat. Yep, chat.
The
Alright.
chat are unbound by the letter of the law.
They are mama led the law. Janelle, today you're the judge. You decide on who's guilty or not. They don't affect the trial of evidence, but by their feelings. And we're about to find out just what effect they're gonna have. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin, the details of the case, if you would.
The victim is the painter, Drew Masham. He was killed at his own studio. His coffee was poisoned. By whom, you ask?
I thought that was a stab shot, wasn't poison. Come on, Gavin.
By none other than his own daughter, that cutie over there.
Not
She's
cute.
not cute.
Not cute!
Doesn't
Also, there
talk.
wasn't any poison in that coffee.
Ugh. Someone's been doing their homework, huh? Indeed, poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself.
The mug? Oh, residues found in the rim, I see.
The autopsy report describes the manner of our victim's death.
The court accepts this as evidence. Autopsy. According to this report, the victim's death was caused by atroquinine poisoning.
A chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. A touch of atroquinine on the body is the touch of the Reaper's scythe.
And it makes that sound. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. You may present your witness.
I have for you today a simple man for a simple case
He
with
really
a
is.
simple voice actor.
He really is a simple
Hey.
man.
Won't argue.
A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety.
That journalist, no doubt.
He's a strange man. He's a cutter, but only cuts with a pen. The witness will state his name and occupation.
Ah, right. That's my actual reaction. Well, for starters, my name is Spark Brushel. My job is a lone observer of the world.
In other words, a freelance journalist, right?
Him. If you don't mind, I'd like to state something here for the record.
Yes, Mr. Brusho?
I dislike conclusions, specifically the aspect of jumping to conclusions. Preconceptions make park sandbox of endless desert waste. End quote.
But you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday.
Well, that's true, yes. But you must understand, I stand before you today as a man with a dream. I'm offering you in my testimony in exchange for exclusive rights to the story. Turns Mr. Brushel into that Mr. Brushel. End quote.
Let's hear your testimony then, shall we, famous Mr. Brusho? A simple,
Future famous.
future famous. A simple case, eh, Gavin? For me, the jury. It's still out.
The chat.
For the chat. Pay attention, Janelle. It's all right on you.
Hey, chat, who's guilty, chat?
I visited the studio around 9 o'clock that night to do the interview. The first outsider to enter the Altier. Wait, what is that word?
I have no idea. Right, put that one on Shane. Strike one, Shane. Atelier.
Journalistic history made, end quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened next? Star Falls, end quote. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time.
He flashed blood symbols at the end. I bet that's the lie.
That does sound like a simple case. Unless you were the one who poisoned him.
Oh no!
What did he say about
What are you
jumping
saying,
conclusions?
Judge? Judge, jumping to conclusion.
He hates jumping to conclusions.
What do you think this is? Poison toothpaste? In my
There's an
pocket?
early quote.
Need I remind you the cameras are rolling today? I felt the need to be a bit dramatic.
You didn't do it, did you?
Come on, like that. That's like newsmaker making the news, end quote. Or even contemporary witch hunt, end quote. I know, wild accusations is Rocky Horror, end quote.
He couldn't say accusations.
Another
Rock,
point.
indeed.
I know what the word is, I just can't say it.
Prosecutor Gavin sure looked like he's having fun. Oh, sorry, you had a lot of spit in my mouth that time, Apollo.
I'm so happy for him. Very well, Mr. Justice. Your cross-examination, please. $9
Yeah.
9 o'clock at night? Isn't that a little late for an interview?
If the great painter Drew Misham says come at 9, believe you me, I go at 9. The first and, as it turned out, last interview with such a prolific painter.
Right. Can you tell us what it was like when you arrived? Where's outside that down there? You were the first reporter ever in Drew's studio?
I certainly will look back on that night as turning point in journalistic history. A basically insignificant step for all mankind. But a giant step for that Brusha guy, end quote.
If no one had access to the outside from the studio, then it would serve as the reason that the deed was done by an insider.
By which he means Vera did it.
So, how did this epoch-making interview go?
Donald Bros coffee right after we started. Would you mind being a little more specific?
Oh wee, let me tell you, I enjoy a cuppa. In fact, it all began when I was in 3rd grade. No wait.
No, that's not what I meant. Come on, man.
I believe I know what Air Forehead is driving at. This coffee the victim was served, was it delicious? Did anyone other than the defendant touch it?
You're right, that. That's what I was gonna say, really.
Well now, if you've got a question to ask, you best straight up ask it. That's what I tell the new recruits several times if necessary. Right for a grade schooler. That's my motto. Which isn't to say I can only write great.
Who touched the coffee?
Don't know. Oh. I was in the back looking at the studio's equipment when she served it.
I don't know.
And what happened next?
I turned my head around.
Star falls, unquote. What's this about? Star falling?
Star Falls, huh? Oh, it's like an old telegram. Send money over.
Unquote.
Zowie, you don't know? That's like journalism code word. An important passage passes away. A star falls, get it? Personage.
But there's no gravity in space, right? I wouldn't think stars could fall, really.
Does this matter?
Oh boy, this is good stuff. Good stuff. How about star breaks? Nah, Lex punch. I know, star dies. Nah, Lex imagination. Of course you can go with Drew dies. Straight to the point, I like it.
I think we need to hear a little something a bit more substantial. Ooh.
Oh,
What should we pick, Kevin?
the moment of death.
Alright. About when Mr. Michon passed away.
Oh boy, what a scene that was.
Oh, you loved it.
He puts his coffee mug down with a crash, right?
Yes. And then?
Then the cold finger of death touches his spine. Life's flame sputters and fails. So cold was that touch, he could do naught but tremble uncontrollably.
Fucking, why does a man seize and die and he's just like writing silly quips about it?
Actually, Life's flame is a little tired. Life's river froze over? Yes, that's a go. Yeah.
I think he's going crazy.
Could you describe that a little more simply, for grade schoolers?
Well, as you can imagine, I was pretty surprised. Whoa. He hit the floor, as they say. Artist seizure his final performance. End quote.
Atroquinine paralyzes the central nervous system. It's pretty fucked up that you keep making silly jokes about him seizing.
That's quite enough of that. Some of us want to be able to sleep tonight.
I'm sorry you had to hear that, chat.
Oh yeah? Well, I want details. Lots of juicy details.
You must write for true crime. For that, you can listen to our last year's hit single, Atroquinine, Juicy Details by the Gavineers, available at all major music outlets.
Looks at the camera.
What's that, chat?
Juris. The point here is that the victim died of atroquinine poisoning. Well, Mr. Justice, how do you find that testimony?
Just say very important. Add it to the record.
Well, as I count the moment the victim's death, I say it's very important. Please add it to the testimony. Very well, the court requests the witness add this account to his testimony. New line.
Those spasms! That was definitely death by poison.
Okay. Do we have anything to counter that?
Press it.
Oh. You say he was definitely death by poison. How can you be so sure? He could have had a seizure. Because he's an old man.
Hey, look, I'm a journalist. I've seen lots of things. I covered wars, I have more than my share of experiences with so-called poisonings.
He's a poisoner.
Man eats fishy fish, goes bye-bye. End quote.
Food poison doesn't count. Should I get him to talk about something else?
To Brussels coffee.
Yeah.
I should have meant the Stars coffee.
Oh, so you drink the coffee that Vera served you too?
Of course! When someone serves you coffee, you drink it. That's what my old boss always used to say. Never did get what he meant by it, though.
But you're still alive, which is to say you didn't die.
Of course not! No point falling before you're a star, end quote.
That's not exactly what I was getting at.
I'm immortal.
What were you getting at then? You know the poison was on the rim, not in the coffee.
Oh yes, yes! There were 2 cups on the tray she brought. And one of the cups had Drew's signature painted on the side.
No chance the guest would take that one by mistake, I guess. Well, Mr. Justice, was that testimony important?
I don't think so. Let's do the last one.
So Brusher drank the coffee too. Doesn't look like this is going to lead to much. Very well, please continue with the testimony. Alright, let's get the last statement here. The Stars coffee. You say Mr. Michon had the coffee too. But did you actually see him drink the coffee?
Orbs. He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger. End quote. When a man sees dog eat dog and writes about it world, yet.
Yet?
I guess I can't say I saw him drink it really. He had one so-called sip, if that. Man puts lips to mug, drinks, end quote.
That poison.
Didn't they say that the poison takes like 15 minutes if you ingest it, but like almost instant if you're like pricked by it?
Yes. That poison's quite virulent, I hear.
What's that word?
Virulent?
Yeah, you said it right.
Haha.
My stomach did a so-called somersault. Since I've gulped down that coffee without so much as a second glance at it. Wait, maybe something's there, some kind of so-called trick. Anyone want to venture a guess for the record?
Does this guy have a pause button? Well, Mr. Justice, did you find that testimony valuable? I mean, the only
yes.
thing... Yeah,
I'd say yeah, because he had a sip and then he died instantly. Like, that's not how that poison works.
Or he seized up instantly.
The victim drank his coffee, then immediately fell over?
Oh, yes, yes. You can go to the press with that one.
Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Add it to that testimony right now. Very well. Add it to your testimony, my guy.
Vital, right. He had one sip, and if that, the next moment he was on the floor, like a dinosaur.
End quote.
Yeah, show the coffee cup.
Is there nothing that talks about the 15 minutes? It's not.
Are you sure that, never mind.
Coffee cup?
That's all, Kevin.
That's the only one that has the poison in it.
Yeah.
And they talked about how the poison works.
Yeah, it's 15 minutes. You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used, atroquinine. Oh, Prosecutor Gavin was quite clear about the poison. A lethal dosage of 0.002 milligram paralyzes the central nervous system. If you drink that, even you, Mr. Justice, will be reduced to a quivering pile.
That would be so cool there, forehead.
Why are you using me as an example? Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. There was a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information. An omission? Atrocanines are virulent, as he says. But death doesn't come upon ingestion. Not immediately. That's because Atrocanine's slow acting! Slow acting?
What?
According to one forensic scientist, who shall not be named.
End quote.
End quote. If we suppose at that moment Mr. Machine drank the coffee weighing sealed his fate, then he would still have had time left to enjoy his last cup of joe. Order, order! What's the meaning of this? If what the defense says is correct, why, that contradicts the entire testimony we just heard. Well, Mr. Brushel, anything to say on the record with your end quotes?
Slow acting? Slow act. It's virulent, alright. Even then, it was already beginning to dig its claws into the journalist.
He's so slow acting and still dying now. He's working on his scoop. It's Brushel, yeah? Brushel. Let's take a trip back down memory lane.
Huh?
Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. This is vital.
You know what I think? I think that was a not-so-subliminal suggestion. End quote.
I admit, it does cause a problem if he died when you said he died, right, chat? I would be forced to say that to my simple case.
Wonderful.
And you would be forced to say goodbye to your article.
Again? Motherfucker?
You can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your ass goodbye.
Look, wait, just wait. Wait a second, just 1 second.
We're waiting.
He's
We're
thinking
waiting.
of a lie. Get
Out
him.
with it.
I think I just recalled a so-called important detail. A revival of recollection, end quote. A story survival, end quote.
Attorney utterly confused. End quote.
Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I heard a poison that takes its sweet time, see?
But not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently.
Mr. Brushel, are you saying you know something that explains what happened?
You bet I am! The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say.
Or, I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say.
I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. See, thanks to my journalism skills, I know who poisoned that coffee.
Order, order, order!
He was a yellow magician.
The fire.
As far as I can tell, the witness is standing by his testimony. That Mr. Masham died the instant after he drank.
Of course I'm standing by my testimony. And my dream of exclusive rights to this story.
I suppose it was too much to hope for. You
What
fucked
was?
my whole case, Brushel. Of course you wouldn't choose a simple case, not him.
Him?
Phoenix Wright, who else?
What?
Here, Brushel, report for us if you would. What is it that you noticed?
Nothing.
This court is a critical trial of the jury system.
I need time to make it up.
I'm afraid.
interview, I saw him stab himself with a pen.
I'm afraid no room for doubt is permissible. You will testify to the court about what you noticed. Janelle's watching.
He was cutting himself with a little red frame.
When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Masham was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note?
A suicide note?
Yes, he had this look on his face. Oh, man's face indescribable as a quadratic equation. Blech, end quote.
Suicide? Oh, poor Mr. Masham. But that means Vera's innocent. Who cares if her daddy's dead? She'll find another like me.
Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview?
Oh.
Very well, you may begin your cross-examination.
It makes for a good quote. Eck.
Weren't they saying something about like the way it was sealed? What were they saying?
Yeah,
It was like ripped open, right?
Yeah, but it was a 7-year-old letter. Maybe the one he wrote
Press
was...
press that. Where he says that he sealed it really fast.
When I arrived at the studio.
Alright, quickly seal the envelope.
What if the poison was in the letter and it was meant to kill him years ago and he just opened it now?
Maybe. So he put the letter away when he saw you?
Earlier reporter gets worm. End quote. That's my secret.
I'm not sure I follow.
The night of the interview, I arrived 15 minutes ahead of the schedule. The handle turns and the door opens and I barge in.
Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that unlawful entry, really?
Mr. Masham seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He froze up and fell on the floor. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could.
Yellow.
Yellow, huh?
I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one.
It does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice, I wonder. It does have the ring of something important. Like the fact that it was yellow. The defense finds this testimony vital, Your Honor. Very well, please add to a testimony then.
Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge. It was a yellow envelope. I heard it was left at the crime scene.
Why'd they give us such an easy one?
As it just so happens, there was a single letter in a desk drawer at the scene. But people are colorblind!
Oh no! Well,
Prosecutor Gavin!
Did you guys fucking see that? What was that? His head made a balloon noise.
Was a yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime?
Are you ignoring me? Did you? Unfortunately, no, but air forehead. Oh, it's easy to mistake the color of an envelope.
I guess. But not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already. 7 years ago. Well, Mr. Brushel,
I can't explain that. Drew, right? He wanted to get in that letter in an envelope pronto. Get it out of sight of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed away.
And what about the whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump?
Doesn't matter.
Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim? That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope?
Impossible.
Impossible. That's impossible.
I like your expression. It's so full of confidence.
It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with the assistance of one forensic scientist.
Is she on my side or not?
Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham. Why would he address that letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself?
He was in a bad place and they sent it to children.
Order, order, order!
Polly, is this man a human?
Mr. Brushel, can you explain this to the court?
Oh, my. How could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots. End quote.
I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushel.
Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something.
His desk drawer?
Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp, end quote.
A stamp? Whatever for?
Well, to mail his letter, what else? And then, why yes, I think I saw him put it in his letterbox. Yes, it was a yellow envelope. And he put it in that box.
Well, apparently, this yellow letter's not due this.
Oh, how I wish it did. Just think of it as it were a suicide note. What a story. Star writes suicide note in front of reporter. Follows, end quote.
As I was saying, that has nothing to do with this case. That said, yes, Your Honor? It makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope. $100,000. Sign the papers to Florida within 3 days. $100,000 is quite a good deal of money.
So, this was from 7 years ago, ja?
So, am I finished here? Am I finished here? I was thinking of, going home to start writing.
I hate to state what should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that, rather unique face.
Come on. Attorney has active imagination, little else, end quote.
Even I know something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. You know, I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about that you've been doing. Judge has active imagination, end quote. Please continue your testimony. Tell us about the scent of a story.
Hey, I'm the one asking the questions here usually.
He's spitting on his brush and then cleaning his glasses with it.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
The way to do it, yeah. And Unfortunately, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story gets his interview, end quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. That red envelope probably had something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare.
So you threatened to go to the press with this story? That's how you got your interview. Blackmail?
Well, yes. I mean, no. It wasn't exactly black. I mean, I'm not Irk.
Something wrong, Mr. Brushel?
Look. This is my story, my tidbit, my journalist info in his livelihood, end quote.
I see.
Well, you had me chatting away in here. What's going on out there? What if Wally Wordsmith or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story? They could be going to press while I'm going to waste.
The court feels your pain, Mr. Brushel. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace. A certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago? Again?
What? You think Gavin's brother's involved? And Phoenix Wright and forged evidence? Oh, forged evidence. This guy was a forger.
Did you just make that connection right now?
Yeah, did you already think of that?
Actually, I didn't think of that, but it's funny how the timing. I think there's only one thing we need to press here.
Oh god, he blinks from down up.
What? Alright.
And when he talks, his bottom jaw doesn't move, the top of his head does instead.
A certain case 7 years ago. Tell us, what case?
Let me state one thing, Mr. Attorney, and you can quote me on this one. I can't talk about that case.
End quote.
What? Why not?
It's about journalistic pride and scrutinisms and its credibility and connections.
What's that middle word?
What?
What did you say? Staunchnesses.
Journalist reveals sources only over his dead body. End quote. So will be gonna strangle me? Dead men's don't tell tales, Mr. Turns.
They were really proud of that animation. They want to keep using it.
You sound really determined not to talk.
Our chances of breaking his will aren't looking good. We better break his mind instead.
I like your thought pattern, Trucy. Uh-oh.
Go back to the last one and perceive him.
I mean, I think this is true, right? Wouldn't this be true?
Yeah, you're right. Oh yeah, the perception is supposed to be like when you're catching him on a lie.
The red envelope probably has something to do with it. Does that sound like a lie?
No.
Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare. That sounds like the truth.
Are you sure? Because he's a forger, remember? He doesn't make his own stuff.
Let's see. I don't even
Okay,
know
let's
what to
get
perceive.
horny.
I don't even know what to perceive.
Yeah,
on
what
this
part of
old
him is
man.
gonna be weird? Good spot, good spot.
Because he's Brushel.
Maybe the way he holds the toothbrush?
Why does it zoom in so far?
I don't know.
You gotta look at the exact point.
What's his other hand doing?
We'll go check it out after. Can't see his other hand.
What about his throat? Is he gonna swallow and then ventriloquism like Lammy?
I didn't see anything.
Let's check on nurse statement. The red envelope has something to do with it? Yep. Story concerns taste? Yep. Another story to view. Actually, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up. Oh. Certain case from 7 years ago.
The only one I could think of that might be likely the last one. You could just try pressing it.
This one?
Yeah, just press it and see if we can
Okay.
see if this is a lie.
Just how amazing was Mr. Misham's talent?
Huh?
Oh, wee boy, I mean, hey, he's a star, man. A star. The flow of his brush is like a great undilating river across the canvas.
Undulating. It's undulating. Sorry, Shane.
It's all good. Artist paints lights up studio like sun. End quote.
This guy's full of wacky gestures. But that one just now was wackier than usual.
So it is on this one. He seems kind of nervous to me, Apollo.
Definitely. I'm sensing something different than before here. Maybe it's time to bring out you-know-what. My gun.
Mr. Hat, that testimony left a bad taste in my mouth, and probably his too. He keeps brushing his tongue.
It all makes sense. Nothing jumps out as ridiculous.
I wonder what this story he's talking about is. It must have been good to get an interview with a famous recluse like that.
Something powerful enough to drag Drew Misham out of hiding? I wonder. Maybe it has something to do with Mr. Misham's art. Gotta catch him on the last one.
His eyes twitched.
Oh yeah, well, look at his eyes.
Oh.
It's gonna be something crazy like, oh look, his hair's grew.
We haven't looked at his hair yet.
Is
Damn,
it his
we-
chest? Is he gonna like breathe deep or something?
Boy.
They said it's on this one. Yeah, elbow.
Can't go that far.
Other elbow.
You can't. Oh, a little bit. Could be his mouth shape.
How can this very animated man be so hard to figure out?
When he says "but Drew's talent," I bet that's the spot. Just fucking hit him with it, and then
Well, we need to
Apollo
find
will
out
tell
where.
us. Apollo will tell us. You don't have to look at it. Hit it now! R. Oh. Bro, this gimmick is boring.
You gotta be really good at it.
I think we should try a different statement.
Okay.
That red envelope probably has something to do with it.
Oh, that very obvious look in the face when he goes, oh. Oh. That's just his standstill.
It's gonna be so hard to catch him when he does that. I can't believe this man would be so tricky.
Maybe his eyebrows.
Seven years ago, Rambo, that is probably true. Talent was about compare.
What's the first statement? Like,
Took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview.
maybe this one. Like, he's gonna be nervous because he did blackmail him.
Don't think it's this one either. What do we do? All right, we got the answer. Shane's. Oh, what is that? Gotcha. There's a weird visual bug. Sweat a lot, Mr. Brusher.
Erg. Oh, yeah, well. A man can't help his glands, you know?
It's more than that. When Mr. Michon's talent was mentioned, you suddenly began to sweat buckets. You're hiding something about his talent.
What? That's ridiculous.
Evidence done. Let's show where Mr. Michon's true talent lay. It just
a counterfeit painting.
It just so happens I have evidence showing the talent mentioned in that letter.
Can't help but wonder what the court is supposed to find or conclude from this evidence.
What? But this is a fake painting.
Other than that you made a horrible mistake. End quote. Man burned bridge, forgets to cross first. End quote.
Okay, we'll try that again. All I gotta do is review what his talent really
What
was.
his talent was.
That shouldn't be so hard, right? It just so happens I have evidence showing the talent mentioned in the letter. Is it this one?
Well, his talent is counterfeiting, right?
Yeah, and I was using the counterfeit picture, but I guess not. Now I'm the real one? I don't know. I used a fake one. It didn't work. Two.
I guess try the real one.
The real one? Okay. Here's the real painting. There are two problems with this painting, you see. The first is that it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham. The second is that there was another painting in the studio, which looks exactly like this one, except it was only half done, which I just presented earlier. Then we have a letter discussing the payment of $100,000, which suggests a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries. Good
They really
freeze frame.
froze on that picture.
Broke him. That is all, Your Honor.
He just stays like that.
Everyone, please, everyone! Can we keep this private, please? This is my story, my scoop!
Forgery? That's a serious crime.
Drew Misham is known as an artist these days. But there were rumors that he dabbled in another kind of art until a few years back.
Another art meaning forgery?
Drew Misham was talented, alright. Talented at making precise, detailed fakes. A fact that a certain criminal elements were quick to discover.
Criminal elements? What? You can't seriously be talking about...
Exactly. I'm talking about forging evidence. The rumors started circulating 7 years ago.
So, 7 years ago? So, are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for...
Exactly. That's a receipt to Phoenix Wright. Forged evidence nets tiny profit. End quote.
Order! 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 Why, it's like our victim was living a double life. Aha! This is my chance. So the victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have plenty of enemies we know nothing about.
This is my first time hearing of this criminal world. We've certainly found no criminal connections when we conducted our investigation.
Oh yeah? But how do you explain all this money? You have to admit there's a possibility of some illegal activity here.
But there is no proof tying this letter to our case.
Damn.
Our case was, and remains, simple. Only the defendant could have poisoned the mug that night. And you.
Hey! The only thing I poison is with my pen when I'm writing reviews.
And when you stab someone. Mr. Brosho, your testimony to this point has been quite unreliable, I must say. It doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen.
What are you talking about? My journalism is rock solid. Journalism so solid you could stand an elephant on it. End quote.
In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain the situation in the studio from the recap, the trial is over.
Apollo, what is he talking about?
The cross-examination showed Mr. Brusho didn't have reason or means to poison him. As long as there's no other suspects, then the killer has to be Vera, that's what. This next testimony is our last chance.
Alright, I'm done.
Alright, see you later, Shane.
What?
Mr. Brusho, your testimony, please.
The only other person in the studio that night was the defendant.
Wait, I think it's Neng's turn to do Brushel's voice.
Yo.
It was Vera who poured the coffee. She admitted as much herself, so she's a talker. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during that interview was that mug. And nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter. She was forged.
She
A
was
nice
forged.
testimony, clear, succinct, and without room for doubt.
Oh, shucks. You really think so?
I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your final cross-examination.
Did someone turn on the AC?
Right. We don't have AC here. Sorry, buddy. I still have one trump card left to play.
Mr. Hat.
I won't let this trial end until I use it.
What is it, the little red frame?
Yeah, the picture, the little picture frame. The only person that stood the night was the defendant. Yeah, I don't see why we can't press that. It was Vera poured the coffee. She admitted as much herself. Yeah. Only thing I touched was lips in the interview was that mug. Now that we can press. You sure about that?
Well, to be really precise, I was busily gobbling mint candies the whole time.
One of those candies might have been poisoned!
Yet, at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room. And no mint residue was found.
It was a long shot anyways.
Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. This case is over. You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than coffee?
Well, Mr. Justice, if you have some proof, the possibility is there, I can feel it. Just maybe not prove it, not yet. And possibility isn't gonna cut it, not now. We're leaning on the paint idea still, right?
I would think the little
paint-
picture frame probably held a stamp that was poisoned, and he's like, now I can finally use it.
Shane, you cocksucker, I think you got it. I think you licked the poison stamp out of that tiny frame.
He's like, now I can finally use it, and then got him.
Mr. Michel ingested that poison via a route other than that coffee. I can prove it. Can we prove it?
That little picture frame.
I know, bud. Okay.
Yeah, do the tiny frame.
Proof. It's possible. I gotta risk it. Oh, excellent. Let's see your proof then. Please show us your evidence. What evidence shows that the victim wasn't poisoned via his coffee mug? Gotta try it. Long shot.
Uh-oh.
Been a while since I heard this.
Wow, that's the first time I
Boy.
actually heard it.
Must I explain this over and over and over? We don't need possibilities here, Forehead. We need proof.
I know that.
You should also know that every proof has its moment. Perhaps you're a bit early.
Oh no.
Is that the game telling us we're early? I can tell you what we know at this point. The victim put nothing to his mouth but that coffee mug. Another hole in his case that needs plugging before I can prove anything. But first things first, I better uncover a weak spot before I try to strike again. On with the cross-examination. Oh, we didn't lose points for that.
Nice.
Nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing.
Press that.
Not one thing? You're sure?
Yep. Sure can be. Well, with one exception.
What exception? What?
Journalist Spark Brushel does interview. Leave studio. End quote. Come on. It's a joke. Get it? Not funny. I know, but still.
Did something leave the studio that night?
What if it was a yellow envelope?
Yeah. Why does it sound familiar? Where have I heard something like that before? Now that we've proven our witness a comedian of sorts, I'd like to turn to our defense attorney before returning to her testimony. Do you have any idea what, if anything, might have left the studio that night?
The yellow envelope.
The yellow envelope.
I think one thing might very well have left the studio that night, actually. A certain something that has vanished from the crime scene. By which you mean something other than our witness? Of course.
Don't tell me. Vera Misham?
Believe me, any comic relief I may provide is entirely unintentional. Then, let's see what you get for us, Mr. Justice. Well, this thing wasn't at the scene of the crime, so I can't show it to you. But I do have evidence that shows how it could have been taken from the scene.
Mailbox.
This is the only link between the studio and the outside world. A letterbox? What did Mr. Brushel just tell us? When he entered the studio on the night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter.
Yeah, I said that, and yeah, it was true.
Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox. But that very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night, the yellow envelope disappeared.
Ah, yes, intriguing. So an envelope disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, this changes nothing, right, chat?
Does it, Janelle? Tell us in the comments below. Huh? He has a point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got into Miss Misham.
Now it's time for the little frame.
Is it really important that this envelope the witness says he saw disappeared? Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me. Very well then, the witness shall add this to his testimony.
You got it.
I still think this fails to change anything, Air Forehead.
I wouldn't be so sure. A letter disappeared from the crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for.
A letter was put in the post from the studio, but I hardly think that matters.
Oh, really now? Let's press first. Nothing can be more serious than an envelope disappearing from that studio. And you were hiding that fact from us.
Yes, well, actually...
I don't argue the possibility that the letter disappeared from the studio. But, Air Forehead, isn't there a much more serious question before us? Hey, don't copy me, you little freak.
I need to quote you. I need to know how many muches you said.
Right, how Mr. Michel was poisoned, I know. But Mr. Brusher's testimony has changed, which means the fact of the case have too. And what he's told us means something entirely different now, I'm starting to think.
Let's keep thinking, Apollo.
Okay, a letter was put in the postal studio, but I hardly think that matters. It's not time for the picture frame yet.
Maybe press that other statement. Remember, it led to like touch something touches lips. We pressed this one before, and then we got that prompt. Let's try it again now with the tiny frame.
Okay. So, press.
Yeah, we pressed this, and then it's like, oh, approve it.
Okay. Sure about that? Oh, yeah.
Ooh, go on candies.
Candies. Mint candies.
End
Possibly
quote.
there. Possibly cutting out. Mr. Shine adjust that poison to a route other than that coffee.
Try it now.
You think it's...
Uh-oh. You do understand what we need, huh? Proof, Hair Forehead, not possibilities.
Of course. And, Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof. No more warnings.
What did you say?
I have proof of the disappearing envelope.
I saw him writing a letter. I did.
Which was picked up by the mailman, I assume. Of course, which means... that envelope had a stamp on it. A stamp? As we all know, stamps come with dry glue on the back.
I don't know how you figured that out, Shane, that there was a stamp in there.
They're just bringing up the letters, and there was a little stamp, and he's like, "Oh man, this is now the time to use
Oh,
it."
you were thinking about Seinfeld.
And yeah,
When that chick got poisoned by the stamps.
Yep.
In order to use the glue, you have to wet it. By licking the stamp.
Someone poisoned this fucking thing 7 years ago, and he finally killed himself with it.
My last letter.
No one worth talking about this actually licks stamp in this day and age. Why, I fucked that up.
Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead after all.
Okay, so he licked the stamp. But wait. How does that explain the anthraquinine on the rim of his coffee mug? Well, duh, it was on his lips.
If you lick the back of a poison stamp, the poison would get on his tongue, yes? What would then happen if you put the coffee mug to his mouth, Those traces on the mugs weren't the killer's doing. It was the other way around. What? The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Michon. Mr. Michon poisoned the coffee mug himself! Order! But that doesn't... does it? Recall, if you would. Atropinine's a slow-acting poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on the envelope. But his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe.
Where's the sound effects or the music?
It's to show, like, whoa.
You have something to add, Mr. Brushel?
End quote.
End quote.
Uh-oh, his nose is picking up another scent.
As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing, see? After putting his letter in that envelope.
That's how he thinks. That's how he narrates his mind.
Mr. Masham sat there, searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp, a so-called potion stamp. End quote. But I can't seem to remember him ever finding one.
Maybe he just run out.
Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps, not a single one.
What? That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison? Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poison possible.
Ha. Good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place.
Well, let's see what the defense has to say anyways. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of this poison stamp? Now it's time, baby.
With tiny frame.
Well, that certainly is a cute little frame. And by little, I mean really little. It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself.
I noticed that too during my inspection, so what?
Ah, apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. Stupid. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important. Missing something? Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame. Atrocunite
Inside of
residue!
the frame.
What?
They took that inside of the frame. They took the fucking frame apart and then squirted the bottle on the back side and then put it back together.
Yep.
What? Why wasn't I told about this? Can we get some AC in here?
The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe an inch wide at most.
You aren't saying.
Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A
Very tiny picture.
A commemorative stamp, perhaps. Order! 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 All you Janelles, calm down. The poison stamp was in this frame?
Impossible. Don't listen to him, chat.
Prosecutor Gavin?
Why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he'd had it there so that he could commit suicide if the mood struck.
You know, can I say something? I had a thought. See?
What, Mr. Brushel? And please stop jittering around like that and flashing gang signs.
The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger's friends makes enemies too. End quote.
So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him.
Oh, rich. That's rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fantasy to the Gavinier song lyrics, please.
Finally, something we agree on.
The stamp was a murder weapon? You're an idiot. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? Nobody, except for, like, maybe my old guitarist.
Oh, I disagree. But I agree with your guitar statement.
Ah, come on, man!
You forget we're in a crazy Apollo world.
Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Jean-Michel hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. The mail. Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew red letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon.
Ridiculous. Where's your proof? I want proof. Show us evidence that this poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon.
I might not have evidence, per se, but things are finally starting to come together.
What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling. Look at your shaking knees.
I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Michon was killed. Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice. A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill set Mr. Michon the stamp of death. Somebody help me. I don't know. I know where Paul's going with this.
I mean, it could be one of the letters.
Could be
a ticket to the magic show.
A ticket to the magic show. That's right. The address?
Is there anything on the back?
How is the magic show gonna pull into this? What a pretty business card. Looks like a postcard almost.
Oh.
And on the back, just her name.
That seems odd to me.
Huh? What does?
Why write your name on the front and back of the card? Why not just use the space on the back for a self-portrait or a caricature? Then people would remember what you look like, too.
That's not a bad idea, actually.
Here, give me one of your cards, Apollo.
She's drawing something. Hey, my hair's not that spiky. I'm glad we can look at
What are you
this.
two doing?
Glad we can do this in the middle of this intense moment. Having a little cute character moment. I mean, wouldn't it just be the mail?
Mm-hmm.
How someone with the intent to kill sent him the stamp of death? They would send it in the mail, right?
With the intent to kill.
How would someone send a stamp to him? Via mail.
Why? Yeah, and why would he put the stamp in his stupid little frame?
I don't know the answer to that question, but it seems
What
like...
does red letters say?
Pause it down.
Please send the
Oh,
receipt once
it
you've
was sent with
confirmed.
this. They sent him the stamp so that he could send the receipt back.
Oh. Sign a paper, send a close.
Oh, the enclosed stamp?
Damn. Oh.
Damn.
Oh.
I bet the yellow envelope was in there.
Isn't this the envelope? The one from 7 years ago? Think about the text of this letter again. There was 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor. Ah!
In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison, on the stamp, lick lick, gasp, end quote.
Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked?
He would sign the document and put it in the envelope and put the stamp on it, right?
But 7 years ago, and
Then he would put it in the letterbox.
15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. But the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath. And the murder weapon could be taken away from the scene. Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system.
Such a splendid imagination you have there, Air Forehead. Let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. Boy, Gavin's playing a lot of guitar this case. So this poison stamp was inside the envelope from 7 years ago, ja? Is that what you'd have us believe? Really?
Well, yeah.
It is a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility. Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poison stamp in this envelope? A stamp that then became the murder weapon? How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence? Well,
It was 7 years ago, and we don't even know who sent that letter.
and your answer is silence. I see very well. Bravo, I move to...
it's not nice.
Is that his brother?
Maybe.
He says Fraulein, though.
He also says clavier. I think it is the big brother.
It's not nice to pick on the Fraulein, Clavier.
Wow.
I thought you were in jail.
What?
What happened? What happened? What was that?
Were we all on a drug trip? Well, like my Christoph Gare impression, did I sound like him? I did really good, guys. I practiced for that. Don't quit your day job. Although that was really impressive, though.
That's really good.
Maybe you should quit your day job.
Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Detective?
Someone had to come dig you up all this mess you guys have been making on this case. Mess? You know, none of this would have happened if you just trusted in science a little more. You can find out if that stamp was in the envelope. Easy.
Care to explain yourself, Detective?
Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right? That's right! The poison detection spray! Produce the red envelope at once! You can open it on the authority of the court. Woo!
Pastor.
Faster.
The game only lets me do it once every 2 seconds.
Oh! There's where the stamp was.
CSI enhance. Well, would you look at that? No mistaking it. That's atrocanine residue. But I don't believe it. A murder weapon from the past. Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last.
Keep rhyming, Judge. Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why. Why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago?
Well,
The guy didn't want to send receipts.
there's
No,
one
he's a
possibility.
forger. He forged the stamp. He's sick in the brain.
There's one possibility.
Or wait, maybe
Maybe what?
he just really liked the stamp, and so he used a different one and then kept that one.
Maybe Ms. Michon figured it out. Figured what out? He realized that the person who sent that letter wanted him dead. So he sent a reply with a different stamp. And put his decisive evidence in a frame.
They almost killed me.
You have something to say? You're still here?
Can I make a statement here on the record? I, Spark Razor Tooth Rushel, claim this scoop as mine. Gibbity Gibbs. True Missum killed in cold blood. By sender of 7-year-old letter. End quote. No, maybe something more succulent. Star falls under.
Neng, what's that word?
Sucking?
7 years delay.
Ah, strike for both of you. It's succinct, you idiots.
Oh no. End quote.
Order, order, order! I see no room for further argument here. Though I admit, this has all come as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached its mouth after 7 years. Stamp is ticket straight to the afterlife. End quote.
Uh-oh, I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge.
Trucy, you haven't made a quote yet. Where's your statement? I see no need for further debate on this matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant.
Apollo,
I think we just
I think
won.
we just won. Oh,
I
sorry.
said that. Me.
Sorry, it was a little magician trick.
All you magicians reading my minds. I can't believe you all. Very well. This court finds a defendant.
Neng, for these to start incorporating other instruments like ukuleles and basses.
Is this the bright future of our legal system?
Prosecutor Gavin?
A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago. Tickets for Gavin Year's shows are invalid after 2 weeks.
But it doesn't make sense any other way.
It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in Air Forehead's claim.
Contradiction?
A poison stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would he use it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Emma explained that. He must have realized it was poisoned.
Therein lies the rub. If he knew it was poisoned, why would he lick it?
Oh, shit.
7 years ago, he sensed a trap and put it in the frame.
He forgot.
I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why, 7 years later, did he use the stamp on the night of the murder?
You know, maybe he was just out of stamps. He was real desperate. You know, you gotta send that letter out.
He could have forged a new stamp. Seriously, you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Masham simply forgot? He put the murder weapon in the frame 7 years ago and forgot? You expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself? What do you think, chat?
Don't listen to him, Janelle. Don't listen.
If court cases really went like this, with like this many twists and shit, and people screaming and losing their minds, would you watch court?
Sometimes
Wait,
it happens.
I guess Judge Judy is kind of like that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure the TV show is just like that. While I admit, this is all quite shocking myself. It does seem highly unlikely that he would fall afoul of a trap that had been sitting on his desk for 7 years.
Didn't Phoenix Wright get an anime?
Yeah.
Did anyone watch it?
No.
Oh.
Because it spoils the cases.
Apollo.
Why would we want to be spoiled? I don't think we're winning anymore.
I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now, right, chat? Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you. Ha 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 ha.
Oh yeah? Then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope?
The poison stamp? Where exactly is this poison stamp then? Have you brought it to court for us? I see no proof that such a thing ever existed.
What about the atroquinine residue, huh?
Oh, I agree. That does seem to be atroquinine residue. But that sprays for all poisons. It's certainly no stamp.
Yeah, but...
Even if your precious poison stamp did exist, Drew Masham never would have used it. That is all.
I believe we come to a conclusion. Again.
Apollo, were we wrong the whole time?
I can't believe it. The poison traces match up. It can't be coincidence. I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Mr. Justice? Yes, Your Honor. Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Michon received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atroquinine in the document inside that envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene on this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope. An envelope that left the scene of the crime with a poison stamp on it.
Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poison stamp, and Drew Masham, knowing this, put it in a frame, he never would have used that stamp.
I'm afraid you're right. Which means there's a fatal flaw in the defense's case. I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of atroquinine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Michon's mysterious death? They're all connected somehow. Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us? The defense stand by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of this evidence make no sense. Which means that one of our clues must be a fake.
Oh, A fake clue? Fascinating. If we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, yeah?
The fake clue that's thrown us off the poison's trail is none other than... The frame?
Drew Masham.
Would be the frame. Maybe it wasn't a stamp.
Damn, this one's actually tough.
I don't think it's the envelope.
Yeah, I don't think it's the envelope. So it's either... It's gotta be the frame, right? Because the frame...
Why would that be faked there?
Well, because the frame is setting up this narrative that he held onto for 7 years and all that stuff, right? But if we take out...
If the frame is the fake evidence, then our point goes out the window, right? So if you prove that the frame is fake, then it makes it seem like Gavin's right about everything. So I don't think it's the frame.
So you think it might be Drew?
Yeah, I think it's true.
I don't okay. I think that I don't think the red envelope or the frame are fake clues.
Oh,
but
you're
I also
saying
don't
it's
know.
Drew.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know why the fuck it would be Drew though. It's Drew by process of elimination, but I don't know why it would be Drew.
Apollo will explain. All right, but Kevin says Drew, so
It's also the wacky answer.
Well, why would it be true? We're talking about a clue here, right? We're talking about forged
That's
evidence.
what I said. I don't know why it would be Drew. I just don't think it's the other two.
Why would we not think it's the envelope? The envelope...
Because if the envelope is faked, then our point that we're trying to make is false.
Well, what if the envelope is fake because we've been on the assumption that it was 7 years ago. That it was sent 7 years ago. What if it wasn't sent 7 years ago?
What if it was meant for 7 years ago, but sent now? And it says within 3 days. So that it could have been, it's actually a really recent letter.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, what if the envelope has been making us think that it was 7 years ago, but it was for 3 days? But
yeah, why do we think it's 7 years old?
What's
there a date
outside
or
of it
anything?
say?
because we think it's
Oh, it
7
was like a
years ago.
lottery. Wasn't there a
because-
lottery ticket or something?
No, that was to test the thing.
Oh.
But we found this letter at the scene of the crime with Emma, and that's when we assumed that it was from 7 years ago. Because it said 7 years ago on the thing.
So could it be that the contents are just different? Like the envelope itself is from 7 years ago, but the contents itself could have been recent?
Yeah.
Why would he take the stamp out of there and put it in the frame then, though?
Yes, that's a
Oh,
good
you have a person tab now on the right?
I don't know how that'll help us here.
I don't know. I just thought they didn't bring it back again.
Okay, so let's see. If the envelope was sent 7 years ago with a stamp, I mean, it wouldn't make any. Clearly, it wouldn't make any sense if he framed it and then used it. That's why I'm thinking the frame's the fake. Like, why would you frame it and then end up using it in the end, anyways? Oh, but if the frame's not there, and if the letter is real, that means the letter was there for 7 whole years.
What does Drew's profile say? Poisoned, age 52.
So either this 7-year-old letter is not actually from 7 years ago, it's recent, or the portrait doesn't.
Can you examine the frame? Maybe there's.
That's pretty straightforward. There's nothing suspicious.
There's a. Wait, what was that?
Yeah, you click something.
Looks like you have to take this back part off to put a photo inside.
It'd have to be a really small photo to fit in there.
True, in that pale, bluish stain. Why would there be poison on something like this?
Well, there's one obvious reason. Whoever put poison in the coffee rubbed it on there.
It's not very obvious, Trucy, but okay.
Now you touch it.
So either we got that our timeline is off, or this frame thing it's not making any sense.
I wonder if the blue is gonna come into play with one of the paintings. Like it's the same kind of blue, and they put the spray on it.
I still think that the frame and the envelope are real evidence.
Okay.
So do you think? Oh,
I don't
maybe
know why.
Drew used
I don't know
poison to
what the
paint.
fuck the whole Drew thing is, but I don't think the other two are fake.
Can you save and we can give it a little look-see?
No save strong.
I don't have a strong enough argument to pick the other two, even though I do think it's them. So I'll go with Kevin's idea. Yeah, can you go with that, Shane?
Totally. I was gonna say Drew too.
The victim was a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand.
Uh-oh. Our health
Don't
bar.
worry, Judge. I'm a genius at this. I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug, linked by poison. Okay. This all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is the victim himself.
Congratulations, you completely lost me. Time for me to play air guitar. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger?
Wow. What a master forger.
It makes a good Oh, wait. What if he doesn't forge evidence? It's the daughter. The daughter's the artist.
Good theory.
Makes a good story.
He
I'll
does
give you
draw.
that.
The fake clue. Fakes, forgeries. Ah!
I know that face. That's the I just had an idea face.
It's very rare.
I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going for it anyways, okay? Just follow my lead. What if our forger is the fake?
Come again?
7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into the very same trap and dies. Why? That's what I want to know. Because the forger who was killed was a fake.
Here we go again. The victim was a fake.
I know I keep saying that everything's a fake, but this time for reals.
One forger smelled the trap. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I
one
don't know
forger
why I
smelled
thought
the
I was
trap.
gonna read that.
One forger smelled the trap, one forger fell into the trap. That's two forgers, and one was a fake. Put an end quote on that, Shane boy.
End quote.
Order, order, order!
So are you telling us that Drew, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was the fake, who was the real forger? You better not be claiming there was some kind of switcheroo.
I'm afraid you're
Phoenix's
gonna.
profile.
I'm afraid you're gonna have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drew Michon was. If Drew Michon wasn't the real forger, there's only one other person it could have been. Understood, Your Honor. Forger Drew Michon was himself a forgery. The real forger was...
His autistic daughter.
Take that. There can only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger known as Drew Michon is none other than his only daughter, Vera Michon. Order, order, order! Mr. Justice, this is going on a limb, even for you!
I kinda agree. I mean, Vera, a forger?
Let's consider it before you write off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery has been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in that trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger. Well, actually that does make a certain kind of sense. One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. If we know that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. Wow, he's using Kevin's theory. The forger was Vera Misham. Well,
Wrong pick again. It was the red letter. Fascinating.
Vera Misham? You've been paying attention to the trial so far.
No.
Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger, Drew Misham?
Wait, what?
She has a low voice.
Was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into Prosecutor Gavin's face.
I'm used to being stared at by Fraulians, believe me. Though they usually talk to me too. Tell us, were you the one who forged those works of art?
Yes.
What? So the forger, Drew Misham, was you?
Yes. It was me.
Oh, it's a crying face. I thought it was an 18 that was all fucked up.
What? What? The court was in an uproar and it wasn't coming down. We had to break for a 10-minute recess. To be continued. What a cliffhanger. Well, what's gonna happen next, huh? We'll find out next time.